right, we'll give it a minute to start, and then if students just join us, we'll have them just hop in. And as I said, I'm going to share it with some students. So we'll pretend we have a large audience today, but I certainly appreciate your time. I'm going to go ahead and start. My name is Sandy DiCarlo, and I'm with the PATH program, which stands for Pinellas Access to Higher Education. Some of the PATH students have been invited today, and PATH is basically a support program. We work out into the community and talk to middle school and high school students about higher education options and what their choices are beyond high school. And we also have a group of students that have chosen to begin their college experience at St. Petersburg College with the intention of transferring to the University of South Florida. So we have some PATH students that are currently enrolled at SPC, and they've been invited today, as well as some students who are here on the St. Petersburg campus of USF as well. So we've got kind of a mixed audience today. So I appreciate you coming today. I think I'm just going to start with a real quick, if everybody can just share their name and their major, including our staff members, because I think all of the opportunities we're going to talk about today probably have a place in most of our majors. So I'm going to start real quick. Again, my name is Sandy DiCarlo, and I actually majored more in business when I was in school, even though this finds me now in education. Let's see, Nancy, do you want to share? I'm not sure if you're speaking. Oh, there you go. That's okay.
Hi. What was the question again?
Just your name, introduce yourself, and let
Oh,
us know what major you're pursuing.
okay. I'm Nancy Tapia. I'm in St. Petersburg College, and I'm looking forward to getting my bachelor's in accounting.
Accounting,
And
great.
yeah, that's about it.
All right, awesome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Casey, do you want to share your education background?
Sure. My name is Casey Cobes. I work for USF St. Petersburg Campus Career Center. I'm the internship coordinator and coordinator for career experiences. My undergraduate degree was in international relations.
Nice. Interesting. Charlene?
My name is Charlene Ajamang, and I am one of the PATH counselors at University of South Florida, St. Petersburg. And then I'm also at SPC at the St. Pete Gibbs campus. So if ever you have some friends or are in the area, stop by on Thursdays. And when I was in college, majored in international business and supply chain operations management or logistics.
Awesome. Thank you. Christopher, would you like to share?
Yeah, of course. Welcome, everybody. My name is Chris Haynes. I'm the Assistant Director for Student Services in Education Abroad. I did my undergraduate at Butler University, and I was a secondary education and Spanish major. And then I got my master's in global sustainability here at USF. So go Bulls.
Nice. Thank you. Shantae, can you tell us about yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Shantae Still. I work in the Office of Undergraduate Research at USF on the Tampa campus. When I was an undergraduate student, I majored in child development and I minored in theater arts. But then I realized I didn't really like working with children. So I got my master's in adult education. And in working with adults, I used all my child development knowledge, but change passed. But that's about me.
Awesome. Thank you. And Danica, do you want to share your education background?
Sure. My name is Danica Walker, and I'm also a PATH counselor at USF St. Pete campus. I'm at the Clearwater SBC campus every Monday. For my undergraduate degree, I have a degree in English literature, and then I decided to get my master's in higher education.
Okay, so I think we've given a good example of that your major doesn't necessarily determine your whole career path. It is very common these days for people to have 8, maybe 10 careers in a lifetime, and I think this shift is going to continue. And learning has now become a lifelong job for you. I don't think the learning's ever going to stop, and that learning is probably going to take you in many different directions. I've asked our guests today to just share ways that students can learn outside of the classroom. I was at St. Petersburg College for over 16 years, and I've been here at USF for the last 2.5, and I am just so impressed with how many opportunities for experiential learning are here at USF. So I've asked our guests today to just share basically what the opportunities are and how to prepare for it and how it may help you in addition to your classes. So Shantae, I'm going to ask you to start for us. And as Shantae Still mentioned, she is with the Undergraduate Research Department here at USF. So I'm going to hand over the screen to you, and if you can share a little bit about research opportunities here at USF.
All right, I'm trying to share my screen.
Okay.
I think it's loading. But as Sandy shared, my name is Shantae, as I mentioned. I work in the office as an experiential learning coordinator. Are you able to see my screen yet?
I can see it, yes.
Okay, awesome. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Office of Undergraduate Research on the Tampa campus, knowing that maybe you will have an opportunity to interact with us, maybe not, but hopefully some of these resources that we have will be available to you on whatever campus or higher education journey you pursue. So I think it's really important for students to think about what research means to them. I've learned that some people have a very narrow view of what research is, and there are common terms or concepts that pop up. When I think of research, I think of inquiry, I think of discovery, investigation. But there are other students, when they think of research, they think of labs, they think of STEM backgrounds, they think of statistics or reports. So it's really different, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Research is way more broad than most undergraduate and high school students believe. So, undergraduate researchers who are interested in pursuing a research project should think of developing a topic. They should also make a plan, and they can make that plan on their own initially and then go to a faculty advisor or a professor to help further develop that plan. They should think about ways to execute their plan and then find an outlet for their findings, because good research makes a contribution to a field. And if you make a contribution to a field, you want to let everyone know about it. And you can do that by participating in conferences that are local or national or international. You could also disseminate your work by publishing in various journals, newsletters, or even opinion ed blogs that are online. So on the Tampa campus, on the second floor of the USF library, our office exists to kind of help transform students into scholars who make an original contribution to their field, a field, the interdisciplinary field. I do want to share though, we are changing and reorganizing this year, and our office is now going to be known as the Office of High Impact Practices in Undergraduate Research. And many students aren't familiar with what a HIP or high impact practice is, but essentially there is some data that has shown us that students who engage in certain activities like research, having an on-campus job, doing an internship, or even studying abroad are more likely to succeed, have a more positive trajectory. And so we call that a high impact practice. We offer some signature programs at USF. I wanted to highlight a couple of them that I think are really cool for students. When students come in and say, Ms. Shantae, I have no idea where to start. I think I want to do research. I'm not really sure. I encourage them to take our 0 credit course called The Fundamentals of Academic Research, where a staff member walks them through identifying their research passion or research story, why they're interested in the ideas or topics they're interested in, all the way to understanding the format and discipline specific questions and concepts that exist, and how to identify a research mentor. So this is a great place to start. It's also a requirement for something that we have called the Undergraduate Scholar Award. So I would say keep that on your radar. And even if you do not participate in this course, we can still help you think about some research fundamentals when you're trying to identify a topic and where to go from here. Another way is to get involved by attending some of our workshops. We advertise a number of workshops that our students are able to RSVP for through our new Bulls Connect platform. Workshops that include abstract writing or research topic selection. We also have a workshop called presentation skills or getting published. So depending on where you are in your journey, a student could participate, gain some extra tools, because we want to equip you with tools so that you can go forward in your research projects. And then we have an event called Research Readiness Day. And I do want to share, even if you are not currently a USF student who has access to a lot of our systems or email addresses, our Research Readiness Day event is going to be virtual this year. And there's an opportunity for you to email my office, and I can send you a Teams link just like the one you're using to access today. And you can attend. It really does talk about the why, what, and how of research. So I encourage novice researchers to attend Research Readiness Day. It's our signature program that happens each fall. It'll be on October 28th from 12:30 to 2:30. It will also be recorded. So if you aren't able to attend live, if you check out the USF Office of Undergraduate Research website under events, a week or so after this event, we will have the YouTube video available for students to access and watch. We currently have the YouTube video from last year's Research Readiness Day on our website now. So even if you're not a current USF student or you're still in high school, if you want to hear great faculty and presenters talk about why you should get involved, that's available to you. USS also has a matchmaking resource. So on our website for our current students, we have a student tab that they can visit that says find a research project. We're trying to do a better job. Many students know that we consolidated this year, and so we are now one USF, but sometimes information gets stuck in departments. So we're trying to reach out to various departments and say, hey, if you're looking to do research with undergraduate students, please let us know, because we would like to give undergraduate students the range of opportunities for involvement. So we have a few. We're hoping to get a database one day, but they're listed. And so you can scroll through and see what opportunities there are where faculty are saying, I want a student who's majoring in public health or psychology to join me, or I'm interested in having a business student join me in this project to apply, do these things. We have an annual undergraduate research conference, which is really cool for students who are interested in presenting and disseminating their work. So if you hit the ground running, you're already engaged in research, or you're working on a research project with a faculty member, tell them, I would like to disseminate this work. Which piece or portion of this work can I share at the conference? Next year, we'll be having a conference on April 7th, 2022. And it'll be a virtual conference, but there will be face-to-face events happening on each of the three campuses. I believe we're kicking off on the 1st of April in Sarasota, and then moving on over to Tampa campus. And on Tuesday, we'll be having events on St. Pete's campus. So we're still fleshing out the conference. But I tell students, even if you're not engaging in research yet, attending a conference to have a better understanding of what it looks like, what it entails, is a great strategy. Also, if you're looking for a faculty mentor and you go to a conference and you see that they did research on a really cool topic of interest, you can look at their poster or on their presentation slide. They're likely going to have an acknowledgement that says, I would like to acknowledge Professor Sandy DiCarlo for assisting me in this work. That's a professor you might want to meet, because then you can say, hey, I saw that Miss Shantae did a project with you and it seems really cool. Can I support you in that research after you're no longer working with them? Or is there a way that I can join your research team? So if you're wondering what a conference might look like in the face-to-face format, we typically have students print out their posters and they can hang them. And as people walk by, you'll educate them about your research project. Or you'll do an oral presentation, which might mean a quick 5-minute brief overview with a PowerPoint presentation. So as I mentioned, our Fundamentals of Academic Research course is a requirement for our Scholar Award, but students can start the Scholar Award their first year, their junior year. It doesn't matter as long as they have time to go through and meet all of the requirements for eligibility. Attend 2 workshops, submit your research that you conduct to the undergraduate research journal or present at the conference. And then you sum it all up with the application that includes a reflection. And we have resources for students. You can reach out to a staff member and talk one-on-one. You can attend an event. You could even connect with some of our student organizations like URJ, the Undergraduate Research Journal known as Thrive, and get to see the behind the scenes of what it's like to run a student journal. Sign up to be a peer reviewer, sign up to be an editor for the journal. And that way, once you conduct your research, you'll feel more confident about submitting. Or you could join URS, the Undergraduate Research Society, where you have students who are passionate about research and have done research who can assist you or tell you, hey, this is a great faculty member to connect to because they mentored me in my research. Even if you're not a USF student, feel free to connect with us on one of our social media platforms. Our Instagram page and our LinkedIn page are the most widely used. The LinkedIn page really does connect a lot of students who care about their branding, right? If you're going to college, you know that there is a post-college journey, whether you're going to med school, grad school, or you want a career. And so thinking about creating a LinkedIn page that allows you to brand yourself and show the cool things you're doing to faculty and potential employers is helpful. And you can connect with our office on there even now. We also have a listserv that shows the events that we'll have coming up. We send out about a bi-weekly email saying, hey, join us for this activity for students who haven't connected with us on Bulls Connect. So once you become a student, you might want to consider connecting with our office through the listserv. And I wanted to share because I know research is that thing that some students struggle to identify with. I'm the experiential learning coordinator in the Office of Undergraduate Research, but I struggle to identify with being a researcher. And it's because of something called imposter syndrome, where you really don't feel confident. You don't feel that your contribution is as great as everyone else, and you have a lot of fear and doubt that will hold you back. So I want to acknowledge my battle with imposter syndrome so that it hopefully encourages you all to seek the experience that you need, that hands-on experience to get you over your fear and know that you can make a valuable contribution. We have common questions like, what should you write about? How do you know if you have a good research topic? Is your research idea realistic, or where can you go for help? So I mentioned our office as a resource. We have campus librarians who are also a resource and can help you find sources for your literature or do a workshop that teaches you about a literature review. But if you pick a topic that you're passionate about, maybe it even aligns with something bigger than you, like a United Nations sustainability goal, or maybe it's just personally insightful or related to something that you learned growing up. I think that's a good research topic. You just have to find a way to phrase it so that it makes another contribution. Or maybe you're looking at an old problem in a new way. Maybe there's been a study done on this, but instead of looking at students who are domestic residents, I'm going to look at the same study and have my study just focus on international students. Maybe instead of looking at the state of Florida, I'm going to focus on the Tampa Bay region and duplicate a study that already exists. Or maybe I want to do something new. I might be curious about drones. I love drones. I got a drone for Christmas. And now I'm going to ask the question, how are drones being used to positively impact technology in STEM classes in the Tampa Bay region? And I'm going to take that question and design a study that a faculty member can assist me in pursuing. I'd like to leave you with a couple of things. I'd like you to know that research, more than being broad, can be extremely relevant, personal, and impactful, and that you are never too young to start a research project. In fact, at USF, I've learned there are some faculty who want to work with first year students or sophomore students because if they're working on a grant that they have funded for 3 to 5 years, they'd love to train you your sophomore year and maybe you continue to support that research before you graduate. It's also not too late. I've seen senior year students come to my office and say, I need a faculty mentor. I want to do research. I want to go to grad school. And they are welcome to join a team of researchers that already exist and help in a piece of that project, and then demonstrate that they have those transferable skills as they move forward and apply for graduate school. And to be even more honest and open, I'll share that one of the most impactful research projects that I pursued was one related to my family. A faculty member of mine who knew I wanted to become a researcher shared with me that I should submit to the genealogy journal. And I was not even thinking about this journal. I didn't have much context for what the field of genealogy consisted of. I thought they just researched dates and historical facts related to people. But there was a call for a proposal for a critical genealogy issue. And I was able to submit an abstract saying I would love to do a project that kind of examines my deceased grandmother's journey from Texas to California. And using ancestry.com to research my family history and tree and access documents that I didn't know about because my mom and my grandmother are deceased and I didn't get to ask them about their experiences growing up, I learned a lot about my grandmother. Initially, I thought that her decision to move from Texas to California was a poor one because my aunts and uncles suffered with mental health issues and substance abuse and poverty, gang violence, and I thought maybe she should have stayed in Texas. But in exploring the laws and events and policies that were taking place, the lynchings and the droughts that were happening in her area in Texas, and then realizing that she left Texas as a single mom of three in an era before Google Maps existed, down Route 66, where there was a lot of racial tension and African Americans often couldn't even stop and find a place to stay overnight. I developed this extreme admiration for her resiliency and her desire to provide a new normal for her children, even though it didn't become what I think she had hoped for. So I was able to conduct research that was meaningful to me and actually helped um, share my grandmother's experience with the world by pursuing genealogy research. So taking a hobby or taking an area of interest and expanding on that is definitely feasible. And I want you to know that you can do this for class credit, or you might even be able to just support a faculty member in their current existing research projects on your own throughout your journey at USF. So I know I did a lot of talking, but I'd like to invite anyone for questions or comments if you have them.
I have a couple of questions, Miss
Yes.
Still. Thank you so much for sharing the information, especially your own personal journey. That's really interesting. So it's given me more thought about research itself. Are there some majors where research is more beneficial than others? Or are you finding that students in all majors can benefit from getting involved in research?
I'm going to stop presenting now. So I think that all students can benefit from getting involved in research, but I will share that I have learned there are certain majors where research is a requirement. So, for example, the theater department requires students to conduct research. If you're an honors college student, you have to do an undergraduate thesis. There are other departments that similarly will say you have a course that you take your junior year that prepares you for research design, and then you're going to work with a faculty and complete a research project before graduating. So, if a student is in one of those programs, I think getting involved in research sooner might be helpful so that you can really get your feet wet, determine what you like and don't like, get clarification on any questions you might have related to research designs, and then kind of focus your topic as you are moving through your academic journey. So by the time you're a junior or senior and you have to take on this research project, you're confident, you've overcome your imposter syndrome, you have a better idea about a topic that you might want to expand on in graduate school. So if I'm a business major and I have to do a research project to pass my undergraduate business journey, if I conduct research with a faculty member my freshman or sophomore year, then at least I have some context to say, I love quantitative research. Oh, I do not like crunching numbers. I think I want to do a qualitative study and interview people to find out this information. So by the time I'm a junior working with a faculty member, I can say, I'm really interested in this. My experience dabbling in research has taught me that this is a good project that I can get done within 1 to 2 semesters. And when I'm done, I'd like to present at the conference and get it published so that I could add this publication to my portfolio when I apply to my MBA program. So I would say research is beneficial for all students, especially since you're getting student-faculty interaction, which is known as a high-impact practice. Students who work closely to faculty find out more about opportunities on campus and also have someone on campus that's rooting for them in their corner and can increase their sense of belonging and the likelihood that they'll stay and retain in their program. But it's good for everybody.
Thanks. That's, again, great information. I'm really excited to know that students as young as, freshman or sophomore year have opportunities to get involved, because I agree with you. I think one experience is just going to lead to more experiences, and that's really going to benefit our students. The course you mentioned, Fundamentals of Academic Research, is that a typical, like a full semester course? How would a student get registered for that?
So the student can look on our website to find the CRN number for that, the course registration number for that, or come to our office, and oftentimes we'd recommend it. It changes per semester, but it is a 12 module course that takes about 1 hour a week. It's typically an online asynchronous course. So it's cohort based, meaning you can't move ahead. Week 1 materials are week 1 materials. You get done with those, and then you move on to week 2 materials with the rest of your classmates. But it's flexible enough to where if you only have 4 in the morning to do your assignments, you can do those assignments and go through that course that way. It is a 0 credit course, and we find that that's best for students because there's something called excess credit fees in college, and we don't want you to get charged more for going above your required course load numbers when you don't have to. This course is optional, it's not a requirement, but some students find benefit in doing it. Also, our office has kind of set it up so that students who go through that course are given more opportunities than students who do not. So we have something called undergraduate research ambassadors. Think of them as kind of a TA. And in this virtual environment, especially having experience working with a learning management system such as Canvas, or being able to say, I helped students engage or facilitate coursework is something great to put on your resume. But we only allow students who've taken that course to do so. And sometimes we'll have faculty members reach out and say, hey, I'm looking for 4 students to support me on research. And we'll go to the students in that course first because we know that they're kind of research ready. They're getting the fundamental skills that they need to participate.
That's great. And last question.
Mhm.
How would a student get on your listserv so they're aware of everything? Do they just contact you directly or call your office?
So once a student is a USF student, on our website, we have a connect with us or about us tab, and the listserv details are there. I had it on my slide as well, so I can share
Okay,
this presentation with you, Sandy, and maybe you could pass it on if you'd like, but really easy, and calling our office will also work.
great. I will do, and I'll be happy to share information about Research Readiness Day too. That's exciting that our SPC students could watch as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you for doing that. Before I go, I really do just want to emphasize to students that research is broad. I know I've said that a few times, but you can support a faculty member in their research in multiple areas of their research, right? Sometimes you're in a lab doing some experiment. Sometimes you're assisting with interviews or collecting data. Sometimes you're doing something that's not as much fun, but maybe just surveying literature and reading articles to see if other studies had similar findings to the study that you're supporting. So, depending on when you join a faculty member in their research, will depend on or determine how you're helping them. But all of those are the transferable skills that you can expand on that will make you a better scholar overall. So that's all I got.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Again, Ms. Shante Still of the Office of High Impact Practices and Undergraduate Research.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thanks for sharing your time with us today. I appreciate it. All right, exciting opportunities for all the students. Our next guest is Mr. Christopher Haynes, and he's with World Education. I have a lot of students that love the idea of, study abroad or world education, and then instantly discount, oh, but I can't afford it, or that's not for me, or something. So really excited to hear what you have to tell us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I love these opportunities to connect with potentially new students and other students that are considering USF, because there's just so much to offer in the realm of experiential learning, as you heard from Shantae. But I'm here to talk to you and everybody else on the line here about their opportunities for studying abroad at USF. So real quick, I'll introduce myself again. My name is Chris Haynes. I'm the Assistant Director for Student Services in the Education Abroad office. Mainly, my goal is to go out there and reach out to students and let them know not only what their study abroad options are, but what their best fit options are. Like, how do we narrow down all of our hundreds of options for studying abroad into that right fit for them? So we do that in a number of ways. We do that through on-campus and virtual programming. We do virtual advising, where we get to know students, what their motivations are for studying abroad. Why are you even entertaining this idea? And then we also want to get past some of those barriers that Sandy spoke about. Like, the first thing that comes in mind, it's expensive. I can't, or I've never left Florida. So we want to work with you, and that's not something we can get done just in one meeting, but hopefully over time we can talk to you about your options for funding these opportunities, and also addressing any other barriers that exist for students. So that's my main role. But to round out the experience as well, after you go and you have this amazing experience, I also help with the reentry process. So how do we round out that experience abroad? How do we unpack it in a way that's going to help you professionally? How are you going to put this on a resume? How are you going to talk about it in an interview or in a networking session? And even personally, like, how do we reflect on that experience? You just had this amazing global experience. How has that changed you as a person? And then also academically as well. A lot of times study abroad is used as a springboard into grad school. You've now conquered your fears of international travel. Nothing can stop you. So let's keep going. So we'll talk to you about all of those things, and we have a lot of programs that I'll share in this presentation. So that being said, let's dive right into it. And hopefully I'll kind of get through this presentation fairly quick so we can answer some questions at the end. Okay, just to clarify, can everybody see that? Can somebody give me a yes?
I do not see it.
Oh.
We see your smiling face still.
Oh no. Let's try it again, maybe. It would help if I click share content. How's that?
We see your screen, yes.
All right. I've only done this for a year now, folks. We're getting there. All right. So welcome to Education Abroad, as I mentioned. So why even study abroad? Why are we here, right? We want to let students at USF know that you can find courses in your major with hands-on experience abroad. So studying abroad is not going overseas and sitting in a classroom and being bored, right? We want to use that international backdrop, your host city, your host culture, your host community, as a backdrop to your learning. It's also an opportunity to study with future professionals in your field. A lot of times our programs are very niche, so it's focused on psychology or dance or theater. And so you're going with a cohort of like-minded students and peers, and also faculty in many cases, and better understanding how, or the global nature of your area of study. It's also a great way to network with individuals all across the globe, excuse me. Many of our programs are designed specific for USF students. However, many of ours are designed for students all over the country and all over the world. So it's a really great way to get different perspectives on your area of study and what students from maybe the University of Oregon are doing in your field, or maybe students in Japan, what are they doing in your field? So it's a really great way to network kind of beyond the borders of USF. Obviously, it's a great way to immerse yourself in a new culture and language. If anybody's trying to learn a language, it's not sitting in a class for 3 hours and then you're back into English like you are here. It is 24/7. So if you're trying to learn a new language, this is the best way to go. But it's also a great experience to add to graduate school applications or even job applications, those types of things. Study abroad usually warrants a few responses from individuals that ask you about it. Either one, they missed out on the opportunity when they were an undergrad student, or they had a similar experience and they're dying to share it with you. So there's a lot of great post-study abroad impacts that occur. And I do always like to mention that point that less than 10% of students around the country at the undergraduate level study abroad. In the state of Florida, it hovers around 2%. So when you think of that in terms of competition and finding a, putting your application on top of a stack, a lot of times study abroad can be that one thing that kind of tips the needle in your favor. So please kind of consider that when you're thinking about applying for jobs or grad schools. That study abroad experience can really help you out moving forward and kind of advancing to the next level. To continue on, this is something obviously entirely unique that you can throw on your resume, and it really helps fill out resumes. This is something we work with students a lot on the back end. So when they come back from study abroad, they're like, does this go under my education experience? Does it just go under general experience? Maybe you did service learning abroad. There's all sorts of areas that study abroad can fit and really help make your resume pop. So that's something that we'll work with students on, and find the best placement according to their needs and their interests. And then a lot of times students don't know what they want to do post undergrad work. This is a great way to kind of explore new areas. So study abroad is usually a catalyst onto other things. So maybe it's a new way to discover new passions beyond traveling, because that's definitely going to happen. But there's all sorts of other things that can occur thanks to traveling internationally. So we facilitate study abroad in several different ways here at USF. And, if you look at our list of programs, there's hundreds of options. We've really broken it down in these 4 main program types. That way you don't get too confused when you're visiting our website. So I'll just kind of go down this list really quickly to kind of give some of the highlights of each type of a program. The first one we offer is our most popular option here at USF. It is called a faculty-led program, and it sounds just like what you're thinking. We take USF faculty members and we take them abroad with a cohort of students studying a wide variety of subject matter. This is really impactful for our students because, number one, it's like picking up a USF and taking it overseas. You get that direct credit, but you also get that direct access to USF faculty members that you don't necessarily get on campus all the time. These are typically run in the summer, winter, and spring break. Primarily in the summer, we send around, I'd say, between 1,000 and 1,500 students on our summer programs through Ed Abroad. So it's a really cool opportunity to engage with faculty, to understand how they're using their area of expertise on an international level, and and have an amazing experience all at the same time. So that's our first section. The other option we have are exchange programs. These are going to be fall or spring or even up to an academic year programs. We've specifically went around the globe and identified specific universities that we wanted to partner with. And also these universities may have sought us out as well. Being a top 50 research institution in the United States is very attractive to a lot of international institutions. So they've reached out or we've reached out to them, and we've designed exchange programs that will benefit our students. So what we're going to do in these types of scenarios is directly enroll students in these foreign institutions so you can take whatever you want. These are really good programs for students that are engineering majors or STEM majors looking for those very specific courses. As long as our foreign institutions have the subject matter you need to stay on track with graduation, you can go on their programs and have an amazing opportunity to learn in a totally different academic system, sit next to local degree-seeking students, and really immerse yourself in that foreign institution's culture and campus life. So, and one thing with exchanges, we typically have anywhere between 25 and 30 programs. So we don't have programs everywhere, but we do have a healthy portfolio of programs that students can choose from, and they're all based on in-state Florida tuition. So that's something also to keep in mind. So even if you're out of state or even an international student, you get to pay in-state Florida rates to go on our exchange programs. And that also is true for our faculty-led programs as well. Now, as you may gather, we can't get every faculty member to take students abroad, and we can't have a partnership with every university overseas. That's where this third option falls in. Our affiliates are really there to provide our students with variety and kind of expand their opportunities beyond the scope of USF. So if we get a student that's specifically interested in doing research in Thailand, you'll notice we don't have anything specifically run through USF, but our affiliate partners can help with that process. They can find specific programs just for our students, and then our students can take advantage of those options. These are wonderful opportunities because they go from summer to spring break to winter term, also into semester and year-long programs. So they really help fill our gaps in our program portfolio, and students can take advantage of it. And due to the nature of the contracts with our affiliate providers, students can take advantage of their financial aid and some of those other types of funding systems. And then finally, I do want to make a quick highlight on our virtual programs. This is something obviously kind of in reaction to COVID. We didn't want students to miss out on international opportunities, and neither did our foreign partners. So we were able to establish several international virtual internships and courses that our students can take and take advantage of. These are wonderful opportunities for students that have internship requirements, global business majors, sometimes honor students. Those types of majors can take advantage of these and fulfill those requirements and do them all from the comfort of their home. Many of our partners right now are based in London and Barcelona, but we also have a few others in Western Europe and even in China. So these are some really cool opportunities for students to take advantage of an international internship, but not have to go through all the painstaking process of actually getting the correct type of visa and all these different things that accompany an in-person experience. So I just want to highlight that, and we're going to keep those available as we proceed into the future with study abroad. So to address some of the bigger ticket items, I know when you think of study abroad, you think dollar signs, right? And I'm not gonna lie, study abroad can be expensive depending on where you go and how you do it. But the whole goal is to kind of take those large sticker shock prices and work our way down. And one of the ways we do that is by allowing financial aid to transfer over and support you on your faculty-led exchange or affiliate study abroad options. So any state and federal aid can be applied. So if you get Bright Futures or Florida Prepaid, those financial aid options can be applied to support you in your study abroad. Just please note, every student's financial aid package is a little bit different, but we always highly encourage students to come talk with us so we can have a productive conversation with financial aid and ask them the right questions that yield the most responses. So we always encourage students to come with us. We may not have all the answers to their specific financial aid questions, but we can at least give them the terminology and the vocabulary to go and have a beneficial conversation with financial aid to paint a clearer picture of what to expect when it comes time to not only apply to study abroad, but to fund it as well. But beyond financial aid, we also offer a lot of other funding options for students. Within our Education Abroad office, we offer over 7 scholarships. It usually ranges between 6 and 8. And these are wonderful opportunities for students to take advantage of. They are partial scholarships, but they can help kind of push students over that threshold of, okay, I just need a little bit more here. Those scholarships are all presented on through AwardSpring, so students can log in at any time and make an AwardSpring profile and see what scholarships they're going to be eligible for. We also encourage students to, once they are admitted into USF, to go talk to their departments to see if there's any funding opportunities internally. A lot of times there are scholarships that have just been sitting there. Nobody was able to manage them, or they haven't been inquired upon in some time. So please reach out to university departments. You never know what's going to be out there. But one of the main things that I really want folks to take away from this presentation is the Office of National Scholarships. This is a wonderful office that expands on to all 3 campuses. But this is a great opportunity for students to not only better understand what opportunities are out there, but this office can also help students apply and be as competitive as possible. One good example that this office works with is the Gilman Scholarship. This is a U.S. A scholarship that ranges between $3,000 and $5,000, and the only requirements are that students need to be U.S. citizens and receiving the Pell Grant. The last part there actually just got changed last week, so that's an error on my end. This is actually really good news. There is no program length requirement anymore. So this is really going to expand the opportunity for students to use it on programs like spring break and winter term options as well. And then finally, we always encourage students after they've kind of made their way through this list to also ask us for more resources. We find study abroad scholarships all the time, either through our affiliate partners or just our regional Tampa Bay partners. We received a notification from the Women of Finance Club in Tampa Bay saying that they haven't had students apply for their study abroad scholarship in some time. And turns out we shared that information and we had a bunch of recipients. So these things come across our desk in a number of different ways. And a lot of times we don't necessarily all have the means to get that out to the general student population. So we always encourage to ask students to ask us questions about scholarship resources, how to self-fund some of these things. We have students that make GoFundMe accounts or Fund My Travel accounts all the time. They can give you best tips and tricks on how to make these financial barriers kind of disappear with some of these best practices. And finally, a couple things to know. We're super passionate about study abroad here at USF, but we definitely want students to know that any major, any student background, any identity, any age, any student at USF can study abroad. We have so many program options available to accommodate non-traditional students. Like, we can do it short term, like spring break. It's just 10 days. I get it. Not every student can take, 4 to 6 weeks off, let alone 4 to 6 months. But if we can make a spring break option work for you, we're going to do what we can to do that. There is also very important to know, I think Shantae mentioned this a little bit earlier, but we do need courses to meet degree requirements. We do not want students to go into excess credit hours, but that's something that we're going to take care of on the front end. So we're going to make sure any classes associated with study abroad fit your degree path, and your academic advisor is going to sign off on that as well. That way, upon successful completion, you know exactly what you're going to get in terms of credit and how that's going to positively affect your graduation. And then finally, the last stipulation that we have is typically, there are a few exceptions here, students cannot go their final semester. So if you were planning on graduating, this spring, and you wanted to do a spring semester program, unfortunately, we would not be able to accommodate. And that's mainly because we can't get transcripts back in time. And so we do not want to delay your graduation or have it declined when you submit your application to graduate. So a couple next step for those that attended or those that watch this recording, we highly advise that you talk to your academic advisor now. It's really important to talk with advisors about timing. When is the best time for students to study abroad? If you're transferring into USF, you may be on a little bit more expedited schedule than a traditional freshman who has a little bit more time. So if you can talk to your academic advisor now, they can help you out with the timing and also your course plans. So what courses will you need to take and or save to make a study abroad experience happen? Once we know those details, you can reach out to us and we can guide you the best way forward. It may be very specific and like, oh, okay, those specific courses are offered in Florence or in London or in Costa Rica. And some you may have a ton of different options depending on the program that may best suit you. So the other thing I would say is check out our program, do some browsing. We have a QR code here. Please, by all means, take a picture of it and go to our website, use our program discovery. We also have a cool a course search that students can use. So if you're looking for a specific USF course, you can see if a student has already taken it abroad and where. But also don't get discouraged if you don't find something. It just means that a student may never have taken that before in a certain location. So you can always reach out to us. And then finally, reach out to us. We want to meet with our students. And if there's anything this virtual world has allowed us to do, it's allowed us to gain even more connections with students. So we do a virtual advising. We have a QR code there as well. And we highly encourage students to reach out to us, schedule an appointment on your schedule. We try to be available. If I'm not available, I have my GA or another set of advisors at the ready to work with you whenever you're free. So please talk with us. We set them for half hour, but a lot of times they go much longer because, again, we want to get to know you, why you're considering study abroad, and how we can use study abroad as a vehicle to success as you move forward with your career at USF and beyond. So with that said, I believe that's everything. I'm going to stop sharing my screen if I can figure that out and open it up for questions.
Okay, I'm hesitating a minute because I have a bunch of them. Okay, I'm going to jump in if anybody else has questions.
Bring it on, I'm ready.
Feel free to cut me off. Okay, I guess my first question is probably common to everybody. It's just with the current health situation. Do you have trips planned for this coming spring? Like when will study abroad begin again?
Well, that's our biggest message right now on campus is we are back and we've actually never left. We sent students abroad this summer. And we were, not all universities in Florida or the country kind of followed suit. But I think one of the big advantages of us actually getting some of our programs to go, obviously not all can make it, is we learned a lot. We learned how to get students in safely, how to stay safe while abroad, all during this pandemic. So we are open for business. We are sending students abroad this spring, and we have all of our summer options already up on our website taking applications. So we highly encourage students to start applying. Applying is totally free. You're not going to click the apply now button and it's not some trap, all of a sudden you owe thousands of dollars. We're going to walk you through this system. We're going to walk you through your next steps, and double and triple check that you've made a really good decision from a personal perspective, an academic perspective, and even a professional perspective as well. So we highly encourage folks to visit our website, see what options are available. And if for any reason something would have to be canceled due to COVID, due to health and security, all the students, you will not be liable for that program. If that is called due to the COVID or on behalf of the university, students are not going to be liable for that program.
Wow, that's really exciting. I had no
Yeah.
idea that it's already started. That's great.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
news. Good news. So you mentioned the exchange programs and that they're actually paying in-state Florida tuition for those
Mhm.
courses. That's again another big surprise, happy surprise.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I wish I could get a megaphone out for all of our out-of-state students and say, study abroad. It can be cheaper.
yeah, that's right. And an entire semester.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
exciting. So would they just stay in a residence hall at that institution abroad?
Yeah, typically, yes. Housing is always one of those questions we get for all of our programs, but specifically with exchanges, we do our very best to set students up with on-campus housing, right? We want students to immerse themselves in that local university and local culture. However, we do give students the option to find housing on their own. Sometimes students have family in nearby areas, things like that. So they do have that option as well, but we highly encourage them to take advantage of the on-campus options, just because again it's way better and way easier to get involved on campus activities and kind of be ingrained in the university um, happenings and things that are going on. But that's a really good point. So when we bill for exchanges, you're going to get billed tuition just like you always do in Oasis, and then your host institution will bill you for room and board. And in most cases, in a lot of cases, room and board is a lot cheaper than what it is here at USF, or if you're renting off campus, something like that. So it's very affordable on that front too.
Again, good news. The virtual programs, I'm a little curious about that. So how is a virtual study abroad program different than just taking a virtual class?
Right. So we really focus on the internship aspect, and so we've had a lot of success placing students again in London and in Barcelona. We thought large worldly cities would give our students the best placements. So this is something where students are they're more consultants than anything. So we've even had directors of marketing go in and take advantage of certain campaigns, all as undergrad students. So they really get placed in these really cool internship opportunities. And, they're not getting coffee, they're not making copies. They're actually out there doing the work or doing the research, or consulting on certain projects that get handed to them their way. We've also had students take advantage of online courses, mainly for language. So this is something where they're going to be given, if they're working in Spain, for example, in intercambio, somebody that they will speak with and have these one-on-one interactions for language development. So again, it's kind of taking it beyond what a typical class or an online class would do and adding that experiential component as much as we possibly can.
Thanks. Awesome stuff. Okay, well, I got two more questions and I'll
Okay.
make it quick. You mentioned a lot of scholarships and things like that. I know in
Mhm.
general, scholarships you really need to apply well in advance to meet deadlines. So is that the same with a study abroad scholarship? Like how far in advance typically would you have to apply, or at least plan ahead to
Right.
know that you want the opportunity?
And I think planning is the key word there. So for study abroad, it can be a little different. And the reason that there's a delay and the reason you can't apply so early is you have to pick a program first, because that's what you're going to be talking about in your scholarship application or your statement of intent. And so a lot of times the scholarship application cycles are actually a little bit later in the process. But the earlier we can get started on these types of things, get started on the prompts, like those things typically aren't hidden from us. So we can get started on those things. And when the scholarships do open up, then students can apply and get things rolling. A good example is our scholarships. Our scholarships will not open until after the application deadline for study abroad. We want students to know what program they're getting into, know how it's going to help them academically, personally, and professionally, and so they can put all that stuff in an application for an education abroad scholarship. So it really kind of depends on the cycle, but there is a lot of planning involved. And then the Office of National Scholarships also works in a similar fashion, where they want students to get in early, because a lot of times with these national awards, there are early application cycles where, for the Gilman, for example, students can apply early, and if they are denied, they'll have a second opportunity to apply, and they'll also be given feedback on their original application. So they can work with it, correct it, and submit it again to hopefully improve their odds the second time around. So they're all going to work a little differently, and that's where it's really good to get in touch with our office early, so you know when these applications are coming up, when deadlines are due, and things like that.
Great, great. And last question, as I shared, we have state college students as well as USF students that are watching and will be watching this recording. Does the student need to be a USF student to contact you for more information? Should we wait until they've actually been admitted at USF, or can they ask questions ahead of time?
They can ask questions whenever they want, and we prefer it. The earlier we can get started in the study abroad process, the better. Not all students that attend our USF programs are even USF students, so we can help you either way. We want to get students to start thinking about this and how it fits into their academic plan as they enter USF, so we can work with them on timing, what to expect. All of those types of things can get brought up in an advising session, and the earlier the better. So even if students are in high school thinking about this, we want to work with them. Students that are transferring over, we want to work with them even before that happens. So please reach out to us anytime. That advising is not limited to just USF students. So we highly recommend scheduling a virtual appointment, or they can even come into our offices on campus to find us.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Anyone else have any questions before we move on? Again, such great opportunities here at USF for all our students. So again, thank you for your time this afternoon. We'll be referring more students your way and Shantae's way. So I appreciate it. Our next guest today is Casey Cobes, and another just really exciting opportunity for our students. And don't feel, students, that you're limited to just one or another of these. Students can get involved in all of these opportunities, so you want to make the most of your education. So I am going to chat. Casey, are you all set?
I am all set. Let me share.
I think you may have frozen on my screen.
Did I freeze? Still frozen? Great.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see anybody. Are you? Let me see if
I turned off my camera because I thought maybe I was.
Okay, I can see
it's
you.
Sandy who froze.
Sandy's. Okay, it looks like Sandy's the one who probably froze.
Okay. So should I just go ahead? And hopefully Sandy will rejoin us, or yeah.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I was just so excited. Things were going so smoothly, and then there was a blip and everyone was gone. I am so sorry. It looks like we're still recording.
Okay.
So we'll still go. I apologize for that. I thought you all froze and I was the one that disappeared. So I don't know if you've already stepped in, Charlene, but I just want to introduce Casey Cobes, who is with the Career Services Center here at USF St. Petersburg, and she is the internship coordinator. And so again, we've got another great opportunity for students here at USF. So I will turn it over to you, Ms. Cobes.
Thank you, Sandy. Yes, I am the internship coordinator. I'm also a career coach and the coordinator for career experiences at USF St. Pete. I'm going to share my slideshow again, and if you can tell me whether you're getting the full screen or you're getting the presenter's view, that would be helpful. I can try and figure that out. So what are you seeing, the full screen, or are you seeing presenter's view now?
I see the full screen.
Awesome. Okay. Great. So we're going to talk a little bit about internships. What, and more importantly, why, and then how. And students, if you are in high school, you can be looking for internships as well. In fact, there's a great program for any Pinellas County school called the Executive Internship Program. It's something that you can do in your senior year. So it's something that you can be thinking about even at the high school level. So now I can't get my slides to move. Darn it. There we go. Okay, so we're going to talk about the what and the why of internships, how to find a good internship and what makes an internship worth your time, how to become a competitive candidate for internships, and then when you're in the internship experience, how to get the most out of it, and the different kinds of internship for credit options that USF has, and some additional resources. So first off, what is an internship? At the very basic level, an internship is a form of learning by doing. Okay, the experience doesn't need to be formally called an internship for it to be an internship. But what we look for in the internships that we approve to be listed on our handshake dashboard are that the student is learning something throughout the experience, and they're supervised by an expert, and they receive feedback. Okay, so that is really what we're looking for at the core of the internship. There's learning, there's specific learning goals, and that the student is getting as much or more from the experience than the employer is. The internships can be paid or unpaid. You can get credit or not. It's entirely up to circumstance and the needs of the student. Although we do encourage internships that come through our office and our posted handshake to be paid, the most part. So why do an internship? This is the most important thing I wanted to talk about today. Internships are valuable as a way for you, the student, to test out a career field before you start pursuing it as a full-time job. So how do we get our ideas about specific career fields? Well, for our friends and family, maybe we know someone who's in that career field, or more likely, we're getting our information about what it is to be, say, a lawyer from the media. So from books that we read, from television shows that we see, etc. So to get a more realistic idea of what a profession entails, an internship is a great way to test that out. At the same time that you're doing that, you're also gaining professional contacts. You're broadening your network. And as you talk to more people, you'll get exposed to even more career options, maybe that are tangential or directly related to the internship experience that you're in. Internships help you hone your skills or gain new skills. And they're also great to put on your resume. Okay, so now you have experience, right? So when you're getting close to graduating with your bachelor's degree and you you're looking for your first full-time job and you're seeing, wow, even these entry-level positions require experience, guess what? Your internship has now qualified you for those experiences. You have experience in that career field. In addition, you may also be able to get academic credit for your internship. And in that way, your internship will also appear on your transcript. So let's say you need to have a part-time job while going to school, and you also want to do an internship. Maybe you can do 6 credits of internship credit as a way to remove some of your course load so that you can still work your part-time job while also participating in the internship. That's just one of many advantages of getting academic credit for your internship experience. Now, when it comes to your post-college life, we look at what happens to our students after they graduate. And we ask employers, what do you look for? What is the most influential qualification an employer, or sorry, a candidate can have on their resume to consider to be hired? The number one attribute that influences a hiring decision is that that student has completed an internship internally with your organization. The number 2 is that that student has completed an internship experience in the industry. So very, very influential in your ability to be hired after graduation. But let's look a little further down. Also, leadership position in a student organization and general work experience. Those are also important influential factors in getting a job when you graduate. So this may be something you already know, or it may be a newsflash for you, but your bachelor's degree alone is not going to get you a job. So to get the job that you want after you graduate, you need to have some experience as an undergraduate outside of the classroom. An internship is a great way to do that, to get that experience. When you are contemplating an internship, or perhaps developing an internship yourself with an organization, you want to look at these different factors. What is the substance of the internship? Will you be building skills, knowledge, or competencies that are valued by employers? Will you be honing skills that you already have? Are there specific learning objectives or goals designed for this internship? Will you have someone to give you regular ongoing feedback throughout the internship? Someone who could become a mentor to you and help you gain professional contacts in the industry. Internships can be project-based. This became very popular at the early days of the pandemic to do short, what were called micro internships based around a single project. And internships can be paid or unpaid. And the pay does not necessarily equal a high quality internship. So there's some very good internships, some excellent substantive internships out there that are unpaid. Usually they're in the nonprofit, sometimes in the government sectors, or if it's in a very much high demand field. So they know they're going to have many, many applicants regardless of their ability to pay. It may be unpaid in that case. Let's see, where to find a good internship. So USF uses Handshake. I believe SPC also uses Handshake. Handshake is a platform where any types of internships, part-time jobs, full-time jobs are advertised for students. Employers know to come to Handshake if they are looking for college students. So this is a place that employers are familiar with. Half of the universities and colleges across the United States use Handshake as their platform for connecting students with jobs and internships. This is what on the screen in front of you can see. This is what Handshake looks like to the student. When you log in and you go to the jobs section, you can also find internships in the jobs area. And these are some of the filters that you can search by: location, part-time job, full-time job, internship, etc. You can also search by industry, job title, keywords. Outside of Handshake, you can also go directly to the employer's website. So if you know you specifically want to get experience with this particular employer, check out that employer's career page on their website and see if they have an internship. They often do. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can't get credit for it. So it doesn't have to be listed on Handshake in order for it to be eligible for academic credit at USF. And those employers know it's free for them to and easy for them to list on their own career page. So definitely check out the employer's website. Talk with your friends and family. Your professors are often a great knowledge base of what employers hire in the major career field. So professors are often a good resource. Talk to neighbors, friends. Let everybody know, hey, I'm looking for an internship. Do you know someone who might know something? Or do you know someone who works at this particular organization that you might be able to connect me with to get more information? It is possible for you to develop your own internship. For example, you're working part-time in a doctor's office as a receptionist, and you start talking with the pharmaceutical salespeople that come to the office, and you express an interest in an internship with them. And they say, sure, let's talk about that. And you work with that employer to create your own internship experience. And we can help you at our office if you want to try and do that. We also have a number of resources that are industry specific. Internship listing sites or professional association websites are also helpful for looking for internships. This is just a sampling of internships I grabbed at random yesterday. What's currently on Handshake at USF St. Petersburg. You can see a big variety of internships here, everything from chiropractic to accounting to education, construction, psychology, victims advocate, government reform, software engineering, animal caretaker, marketing, business analyst, real estate, community farm intern. So there really is something for everyone on Handshake. And if you can't find something there, we will work with you and help you find what you're looking for. But Handshake is a good place to start and then monitor regularly. When should you do an internship? Like I mentioned earlier, now is a good time. If you're in high school, you can do an internship. Talk with your advisor, your school counselor. Check out Pinellas County's website for internships for high school students. And again, check out the executive internship program in Pinellas County as a source for internships. Internships are available when you are at community colleges. And you can start doing internships as soon as you come to USF. So some students feel like, oh, I have to wait until I'm a junior or senior. That's not true. And it really depends on what type of organization you want to intern for, what kind of experience you want to get, but you don't need to wait until close to graduation to do an internship. Keep in mind, some organizations will start advertising. They're seeking interns 6 months before the internship starts. Those are the most probably in-demand internship experiences. So if you have the wherewithal and the foresight, start looking about 6 months before you want to start. If, however, you find out, oh, I have an availability, I've got some time, I want to do an internship right now, that's okay too. It's never too late. There's always new internships and new organizations listing internships that become available. Get qualified to do an internship. How do you get hired? It's a stepping stone. Usually you need to have some other experience in order to get hired to be an intern, but not always. So get involved. If you're a high school student, start volunteering, get involved in a student organization. If you're in the community college, same thing. Look for student organizations to become involved in at a leadership level, do some research, do some volunteering. There's on-campus jobs. Part-time jobs are great as well. Coursework that's relevant to the type of internship can be valuable, but I don't want you to feel that you are stuck. You don't have to do an internship that's related to your major if you don't want to, and not, in fact, most employers don't require a specific major for an internship. Get to know your professors, find out what types of organizations are involved in the work that they do, and they often have room for interns. And then to gain more qualifications, when you become a USF student, you have access to LinkedIn Learning for free. LinkedIn Learning is a library of training videos, and you can gain all kinds of knowledge in specific software and in soft skills, things like listening skills. So you could learn some customer relationship management software while you're also gaining skills and becoming a better listener. So LinkedIn Learning is a great place to pick up some additional skills. Remember, like this quote says, everyone that you meet is a possible contact in your network. Friends, professors, administrators, people that you meet at the organization where you volunteer, speakers for special events. All of these people are a possible contact or conduit to getting to an internship or getting ideas for internships. When you're ready to start looking for an internship, you will need a resume at the very least. Our office can help you develop your resume, and we have lots of resources available to help you get started. You probably will need some references as well, at least one or two, and that's why it's a good idea to get to know your faculty. Professors can be a reference. It's a good idea to get involved as a volunteer. Your volunteer supervisor can be a reference. Your part-time job supervisor can be a reference. The organization that you work with in your student group, your student leader can be a reference, or your academic advisor for that organization can be a reference as well. And then be prepared, there will probably be an application form and interviews. And we can help you prep for interviews as well as at the Career Center. Getting the most out of your internship means having some goals set ahead of time, being very thoughtful and proactive about how you proceed during the internship. Meet your coworkers. Ask your coworkers, hey, can we sit down for 10 minutes so I can hear more about what you do and how you got into this job? Ask for feedback on where maybe you have some blind spots that you don't see and the things that you need to improve on. Where are you doing well? What are your talents that you're not cognizant of? Ask for more. If you're bored, ask for more responsibilities. Be assertive. Don't be on your cell phone. Don't look bored. When you meet someone, ask someone to come get coffee with you to have a conversation. Again, always asking for advice and information about their career paths. Take notes, some kind of a journal. Keep track of the things that you did and the people that you met that you can visit again later, and then stay in touch. Holidays are a great time to reach back out to a previous internship supervisor, touch base, happy Christmas, whatever, happy New Year. Here's what I'm up to now. What are you doing? I've been thinking about you. Stay in touch because your internship supervisor will be a reference in your future job search. And then internships for credit. At USF, there are multiple ways to get credit for your internship. If you want credit from within your academic major, let's say you're a marketing major and you want to get a marketing credit for your internship, then you can work with the College of Business. They have their own internship coordinators to help walk you through the process of getting your internship approved for their credit. I teach the internship elective courses on all 3 campuses. It's known as IDS 3947. This is the all majors internship course. It doesn't count towards excess credits. It's great as an exploratory internship. Let's say you're in your major, but now you're thinking, I don't necessarily want to work in a job that's related to my major. I want to explore an internship outside of that. That's great. It can help you do that, and you can get credit for it. Last but not least, these are just some resources related to some of the topics that I just covered that are available on our website. You can explore these resources at any point. You don't need to be a USF student to utilize these things. The resume writing guide is great. The Explore Health Careers, Learn How to Become tools are wonderful. And the guide to writing cover letters is helpful too. Under the job searching category, we have specific industry, specific job boards that have internships associated with them. Okay. To move on to our contact information. This is our general phone number. We are open for business, but we are still doing drop-in hours virtually from 12 to 5. And we will see USF students, or sorry, we will see SPC students. So if you're not quite at USF yet, we're very happy to talk with you about our office, about internships, anything career related. Okay, for questions, I am going to... Any questions from anyone?
Again, I have plenty. I won't keep you here too long, but yeah, just some questions that were given to me ahead of time, and then just with your presentation. So I just want to clarify. So an internship may be for credit or may not be for credit. There isn't a requirement one way or another.
No, some academic specific majors may have an internship requirement,
Okay.
but it varies. So.
Okay, and you mentioned to start looking 6 months before.
If possible.
Is there a certain term? Because I have met with some students that really had a hard time finding summer internships, but they didn't even really start thinking about it until probably late April or May. So, like, how early do you find these posted that they could start thinking about a summer internship?
For some summer internships in very highly competitive fields, I'm thinking about accounting right now, which has a very rigid recruitment cycle for the big four accounting firms. They will start advertising in early fall for summer. But you should still, as a student, be able to find an internship in the summer, start with a summer start in April or May. It's not unheard of, that's for sure. And we get new internship listings that are like, we need an intern now, immediately, all the time throughout the semester. To have the fullest picture of availability and to be able to see as many options as possible, it's good to start looking full semester before you plan to intern.
Okay, and is that something they need to kind of put in their academic plan, kind of like degree works? They're planning which classes, what semester they should be planning on internships as well.
Yes, they should be planning on internships. Many students intern in the summer, but just as many students intern during the academic year. It's really about when they have the bandwidth to do it. And many students, you know, the internship could be a barrier if it's unpaid, right? Most internships are paid, to clarify. But sometimes there's a very desirable internship, happens to be unpaid, probably because it is very desirable. The employer knows it. They have enough applicants, they feel like they don't need to pay. In that case, the student may want to get credit for it to relieve them of some of their academic load in other areas so that they can both pursue this unpaid internship and do a paid part-time job and maybe only take, you know, 2 other classes in addition to their internship class.
That makes a lot of sense because I have heard of very detailed, very valuable internships that were not paid, but it was because of that experience. So if a student does want to lighten their academic load and receive credit, would they then talk to the Career Center or
It depends.
their
Again, they
advisor?
can
Okay.
start with us. We will always explain the different options for academic credit. And we can point them directly to the individuals in the academic departments that handle the non-elective academic internship. So again, we at the Career Center, we handle the elective one that's exploratory. It doesn't hit up against the credit limit. Like it doesn't count towards excess credit hours. So that's nice. But on the other hand, it's not going to be anything other than an elective in their major or outside of their major. So if they really needed major credit, they might want to talk to their academic department. It gets really complicated there, and I can't really tell you too much because every department is different and what they look for in an internship and what they will consider valuable. It has to obviously be related to the major itself.
Right. I'm sure there's certain requirements in order to get academic credit. If a student did, say, a short-term internship and things they were not really happy with, maybe it was the employer, maybe it was their career choice or something, would you suggest that they try another internship, maybe in another area or?
Oh, absolutely. So it's great. Knowing what you don't want is just as valuable as knowing what you do want. So it, again, it will depend on the student. Maybe it was the employer or that particular supervisor, and we're going to try the same field, just a different internship in a different organization. Or maybe they've identified, no, this absolutely is not what I thought it was going to be. And I want to test something else out and see what else is out there. Yes, so multiple internships are a fantastic way to continue to explore, especially if you're feeling at all uncertain about where you're going after you graduate.
Okay, great. And I definitely want to be respectful of your time. My last question, if you could just share a little bit more about that internship exploratory course, that sounds really interesting.
Okay, sure. So I like this course because, if a student, they get close to graduation or they feel stuck in their major for some reason. They're up against excess credit hours, whatever. They feel like they can't change majors, but they absolutely know they don't want to work in a job that's affiliated with a major. They want to try something else. This is a great way to get credit for that and try something that's completely unrelated to their major. It's also great, let's say the student has already gotten credit within their academic major for an internship, and they want to continue in this internship, and the organization requires that they get credit for it. They can get credit through us. It's very, very flexible in that we are not looking for the internship to be related to any particular coursework, but we're looking for growth in the student, that the student has specific learning objectives that will be realized and is closely supervised and provided regular feedback throughout the internship experience. And that is one that is not tied strictly to the academic calendar. So we offer internships on an alternative calendar, credit on an alternative calendar, so students could start their internship midway through the semester and still be able to enroll for credit.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. I've learned so much today just about how students can really enhance their education here at USF and really connect with the community, connect with the globe, and really make them stand out when they start job seeking afterwards. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Casey Copes from the Career Center. And thank you, students, for showing up today. And those of you that are going to be watching the recording, I'm going to follow up with a little survey so you can give us some feedback on this information session. And again, you can always contact the PATH program, either Danica or Charlene or myself, if you have any further questions. Our goal is to just help you meet your goal. So there are lots of interesting things out there. Are there any questions from the audience? Okay, then we are going to end. And again, thank you very much for joining us today.